Good day, students. I am teacher Marichu and I will be teaching grade 8 science. So let's start with our vocabulary.
Before we proceed to our topic, let's read vocabulary first. Everybody, vocabulary. As I read the words, please repeat after me. Lungs, lungs. Ribs, ribs. Pharynx, pharynx. Larynx, larynx. Trachea, trachea. Alveoli, alveoli. Oxygen, oxygen. Carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. Inhalation, inhalation. Exhalation, exhalation. So our topic today is respiratory system. Again, respiratory system. So let's know about respiratory system. So this is the human respiratory system. So your body cells need oxygen, right? And they get that oxygen from the air you breathe. So the respiratory system moves oxygen from the outside environment into the system. Again, let's read. Moves oxygen from the outside environment into the body. So this system helps your body absorb oxygen from the air so your organs can work. It also removes carbon dioxide from the body. Again, let's read. Removes carbon dioxide from the body. So this system helps cleanse waste gases such as carbon dioxide from your blood. So let's observe this picture first. So what can you see in the picture? Very good. You see the lungs. So this one is the lungs. So the lungs are housed in the chest cavity and it is under the ribs. So in this illustration, this part have a ribs and this part we cut away the ribs so that you will see the inside view of the lungs. But both lungs are under the ribs, okay? And these are both attached to the trachea. So here, the two lungs are both attached to the trachea, in which is connected to the mouth and nose, providing access to the outside of the body. Understand? Okay, how many lungs do we have? 2 lungs. Very good. So let's have this another picture. So these are parts of the respiratory system. So in the upper respiratory tract, we have nasal cavity, nose, mouth, pharynx, and larynx. And in the lower respiratory tract, we have trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs, and we also have diaphragm. So the air passes first into the nose. So let's know more in the next slide. When air first passes into the nose, it is warmed, moistened, and filtered by the hairs, mucus, and blood vessels which line the passages. So the hairs collect dust and germs. Again, let's read. Hairs collect dust and germs. So it keeps particles from entering your body, reducing allergies and infections. Mucus moistens the air. Again, let's read. Mucus moistens the air. So mucus has a pretty important job. It keeps the lining of your nose moist and warms the air you breathe. And blood vessels warm the air. Again, let's read. Blood vessels warm the air. So, it is to warm air entering the respiratory passage. So, let's go now to the pharynx. Again, let's read pharynx. So, the pharynx is the next structure the air comes in contact with. So the pharynx is to regulate the passage of air to the lungs. Again, let's read. Regulate the passage of air to the lungs. The next is the larynx, also called as voice box. Again, let's read. Larynx, voice box, from the word voice, so it produces vocal sounds. So larynx is a hollow tubular structure connected to the top of the trachea, as you can see in the picture. So the air passes through the larynx on its way to the lungs. Again, let's read. Air passes through the larynx on its way to the lungs. Next is the trachea. Again, trachea. So the trachea branches into two bronchi. Again, let's read. Trachea branches into two bronchi. So as you can see in the picture, each bronchi attached to one lung, and its function is to distribute air to the lungs. Again, how many lungs do we have? Very good. We have two lungs. So inside the lungs, the bronchi divide into smaller tubes, and the smallest being is called bronchioles. Again, bronchioles. So the bronchioles deliver air to tiny sacs called alveoli. Again, let's read. Bronchioles deliver air to tiny sacs called alveoli. So there are about 145,000 terminal bronchioles which end in a cluster of sacs called the alveoli. So as you can see in the picture, so there is a cluster of sacs in the end of the bronchioles. So let's know more about alveoli. Again, alveoli. So as I mentioned earlier, that the end of the bronchioles have a cluster of sacs called alveoli. So it is a tiny air sacs in your lungs that take up the oxygen you breathe in and keep your body going. So gases exchange occurs between the blood cells and the alveoli. Again, let's read. Gas exchange occurs between the blood cells and the alveoli. So it is to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules to and from the blood streams. The alveoli contain surfaces loaded with capillaries. So capillaries run across the surface membrane of the alveoli. Again, let's read. Capillaries run across the surface membrane of the alveoli. So, oxygen and carbon dioxide diffuse across the membrane on and off the hemoglobin in the red blood cells. So, let's go now to the diaphragm's role in breathing. Again, let's read. Diaphragm's role in breathing. So, in inhalation, when the diaphragm contracts, the chest cavity enlarges, reducing the pressure inside. So, to equalize the pressure, air rushes into the lungs. While in exhalation, when the diaphragm relaxes, the elasticity of the lungs and the chest wall pushes air out of the lungs. So let's try this diaphragm's role in breathing, inhalation and exhalation. Everybody inhaled, exhaled. Again, inhaled, exhaled. So in inhalation, the diaphragm contracts, and in exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes. So let's know first about inhalation, where diaphragm contracts. So inhaled oxygen. Again, let's read. Inhaled oxygen. So oxygen enters the lungs through inhalation. Next, chest expand. Again, let's read. Chest expand. So this is achieved by the contraction of various muscles attached to the ribs which pull them up. And next is diaphragm contracts. Again, let's read. Diaphragm contracts. So the contraction of the diaphragm which pulls the cavity down. So as you can see in this illustration, this will happen when you inhale. So air is inhaled and then the rib cage expands as the rib muscles contract and the diaphragm contracts. So the combined action of these muscles makes the chest cavity larger. So next is exhalation. So exhaled carbon dioxide. Again, let's read. Exhaled carbon dioxide. So this pushes air out of the lungs. Okay, what gas did you exhale? Carbon dioxide. Very good. Next one, chest contracts. Again, let's read. Chest contracts. So this reduces the size of the chest cavity. Next, diaphragm relaxes. Again, let's read. Diaphragm relaxes. So exhalation or breathing out occurs when the rib muscles and diaphragm relax. So as you can see in the picture or in the illustration, when you exhale the air, the rib cage gets smaller as the rib muscles relax. So the diaphragm relaxes. Before we proceed to our activity, let's have a review first. So let's review about the parts of the respiratory system. So we have the upper respiratory system, which consists of the nasal cavity, nose, mouth, pharynx, and larynx. So in the lower respiratory tract, we have the trachea, bronchioles, bronchi, the lungs, and the diaphragm. So as the air first passes through the nose and going to the pharynx, larynx, trachea, and go to the bronchi, to the lungs, to the bronchioles, the smaller tubes inside our lungs, and at the end of the bronchioles, it is cluster of sacs called the alveoli, in where the gas exchange there. So let's review this picture inside the lungs. So there are two lungs, and we have bronchus, or the two bronchi. So each bronchi attach one lungs. So the bronchi divide into smaller tubes, and the smallest being called the bronchioles. So earlier we discussed about bronchioles, which end in a cluster of sacs called the alveoli. Okay, the end of the bronchioles have a cluster of sacs called the alveoli. So this is the picture for alveoli, in where gas exchange occurs between the blood cells and the alveoli. So let's look at this picture. Let's have the first one, breathing in. Breathing in is also known as inhalation. Everybody inhale. Very good. When you inhaled, the chest expands and the diaphragm contracts. You look at the picture, what will happen to your body? The next one is breathing out. Breathing out is also known as exhalation. Everybody exhale. So the chest contracts and the diaphragm relax. So look at the picture. That will happen when you breathe out or you exhale. So let's go now to our activity. So you are going to answer the following questions. So I will give you time to answer each items. Are you ready? So let's start. Number 1. What system allows us to breathe and exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen? Again, let's read. What system allows us to breathe and exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen? The answer is respiratory system. Very good. Again, let's read. Respiratory system. Number 2. How many lungs do we have? Again, let's read number 2. How many lungs do we have? So you look at the picture. How many lungs do we have? The answer is 2 lungs. Again, 2 lungs. So as you can see in the picture, the human have 2 lungs. Number 3. What is the smallest tube inside the lungs? Again, let's read number 3. What is the smallest tube inside the lungs? So as you can see in the picture, so what is the smallest tube inside the lungs? The answer is bronchioles. Again, bronchioles. Number 4. Oxygen enters the lungs through blank. Again, let's read. Oxygen enters the lungs through blank. The answer is inhalation. Again, inhalation. Number 5. Blank occurs when the rib muscles and diaphragm relax. Again, let's read number 5. Blank occurs when the rib muscles and diaphragm relax. The answer is exhalation. Again, exhalation. So that will be the end for our topic. I hope you learned something. So see you again next video. Goodbye and have a nice day.